Can a phone camera really replace a professional setup? Most years the answer is an easy no, but this year feels different. The Vivo X300 Pro and the Oppo Find X9 Pro approach photography in completely different ways. One leans heavily into natural balanced images, the other pushes for contrast, depth and detail that really stand out. And with the optional telephoto extender kits, the phones behave like a compact mirrorless system with real glass in front of the sensor. So instead of asking which phone is better, this comparison answers a much simpler question: which phone takes the kind of photos that you like? To figure that out, I shot over 500 images across every condition, be it harsh daylight, tricky colors, portraits, night scenes, extreme zoom, everything. And the results tell a very clear story. But before diving into the samples, let me give you a snapshot of the hardware that we are dealing with today. Both phones get a 50 megapixel Sony LYT-828 main camera, a 15 megapixel ultra wide, and a 50 megapixel selfie camera with Dolby Vision support. That's where the similarities end. Everything else about their camera systems split into two very different directions. The X300 Pro pairs its main sensor with Zeiss optics and 200 megapixel Zeiss APO telephoto camera built for long-range clarity. It also supports a 2.35x optical extender, a physical teleconverter that attaches to the telephoto module. It increases optical reach while keeping enough light for sharp, detailed results. This is backed by Vivo's VS1 imaging chip, which handles raw processing, noise control, and faster capture. The Oppo Find X9 Pro takes a different approach. Its telephoto camera also uses a 200 megapixel sensor, but with Hasselblad certified optics and a floating focus system that doubles as a close-up macro lens. Oppo adds an 8-channel true color sensor that reads ambient color temperature to maintain accuracy across all cameras. It also supports a 3.2x optical extender, which delivers even more reach than Vivo's, but with heavier light loss, something that you'll see clearly in the zoom samples. Everything runs on Oppo's Lumo image engine, which focuses on tonal smoothness, exposure, and natural color. In bright light, both phones produce excellent images, but the difference in tuning shows up immediately. Vivo pushes deeper contrast. The sky looks stronger, the shadows are darker, and the image has more punch. Oppo lifts the shadows slightly. You'll see more details in the darker areas that Vivo tends to make moodier. Both are good. Vivo looks more striking and Oppo looks more natural. Color shades like red and purple instantly reveal how aggressive or conservative a camera's processing is. Vivo's reds are dense and saturated, but sometimes the texture inside the petals gets slightly compressed because the chroma values are pushed high. Oppo pulls back the saturation, so you see better separation between petals and more gradation. Same story with purple flowers. Vivo gives you a royal violet and Oppo leans towards a softer lilac that's usually closer to the real scene. On the tribal wooden mask, you can see deeper grooves and surface imperfections, making the mask look more rugged. You can almost feel the carved ridges. Oppo goes smoother, preserving detail, and it's more realistic but less cinematic. When you look at the landscape shots, especially the distant mountain frames, the difference in each phone's approach becomes obvious very quickly. The X300 Pro pushes contrast harder, the ridge lines appear sharper, the tree lines look more defined, and the overall scene has a slightly cleaner, more cut-through look. It delivers a bold, high-clarity image that grabs you immediately. The Oppo Find X9 Pro holds onto the natural depth in the scene instead of forcing separation. The distant mountain keeps their softness and the transition in tone feels closer to what you'd see with your eyes. You notice this again at sunset. Vivo's stronger contrast make the sky transitions a bit more pronounced. The colors shift more abruptly. Oppo, meanwhile, is smoother and more controlled, which is typical of its Hasselblad tuning. Shift to the close-up test and the split becomes even clearer. On pine cones, grass needles, and similar textures, the Vivo X300 Pro adds more micro contrast. Every ridge and edge looks a little more sculpted and the fine details pop more on a phone screen. The Oppo Find X9 Pro stays gentler. It keeps the details but without aggressively sharpening it. The textures look more natural and the transitions from sharp to blur feel more even. Vivo produces images that stand out immediately and Oppo produces images that are easier to edit later. Night scenes are where the gap starts to widen. On the Ferris wheel and the poolside shots, Vivo keeps the neon and lamp glow contained. The blacks stay clean. Oppo brightens the shadows more, giving you the extra detail in the environment, but that adds a bit of a glow around light sources. Oppo tends to keep warm interior lighting warm, but Vivo pulls it slightly cooler and more neutral. Now let's talk about zoom, because this is where things get really interesting. Both phones support telephoto extender kits. Vivo uses a 2.35x extender, which is the Goldilocks zone of extenders, and Oppo uses a 3.2x extender. That means Oppo gets more magnification, but the downside is the lens gets darker, so the phone has to increase ISO and apply stronger noise reduction. That's the root cause of almost every zoom difference you are about to see. Vivo captures the textures on the dragon, rust, uneven paint, and metal grain. Oppo keeps the edges clean, but the surface looks smoother because noise reduction kicks in harder. In this shot of the island and the pine trees, the individual needles on the trees still separate nicely. On Oppo, the trees turn into softer green shapes, especially towards the edges, which is a result of the heavier magnification and atmospheric haze combining with noise reduction. At 800mm, we are pushing the limits of both setups. Vivo still resolves the line of the tower structure, and Oppo renders the structure as a flatter pattern with slight aliasing. At extreme zoom, light matters more than pixels, and Vivo keeps more of it. Vivo goes cooler and more contrasty. The board becomes a clean silhouette, the mountain retains shape without noise spilling into shadows. Oppo is softer, more muted, and slightly noisier in the sky because it lifts shadows more. Oppo documents the scene well, but Vivo holds onto texture and structure better, especially at long focal lengths. Now let's shift to portrait. Vivo treats portraits like a photo shoot. It gives stronger subject separation with a deeper background blur. It has more contrast on the face and eyes, giving the portrait a bit more presence. Oppo keeps transitions smoother, especially around hair and edges. Skin tones look warmer and more natural under indoor light. Ultrawide is where most flagships still cheat, either by applying heavy correction or relying too much on software to fix barrel distortion. Vivo keeps contrast high, so skies and foliage look dramatic. Oppo maintains color consistency with the main camera, so all three lenses look like they belong to the same system. In these shots of the flowers, Vivo delivers sharper highlights on water droplets and deeper saturations on the petals. Oppo preserves more translucency, especially on pink and purple shades, and maintains better textures inside the petals. The red 40 bird is a perfect example. Vivo makes the red pop, but Oppo keeps it closer to the bird's real reddish-orange tone. With the blue-yellow macaw, Vivo goes deeper on the blues. Oppo captures a more accurate teal-leaning shade and slightly softer feather details. Vivo prefers punch and stronger separation. Oppo prefers smoothness and better consistency across lenses. Neither the Vivo X300 Pro nor the Find X9 Pro tries to reinvent the slab. The X300 Pro feels like a device built around its camera system. There's a slightly denser top half where the large sensor and optics sit, and when you attach the extender kit, the phone almost transforms into a compact shooting tool, and the weight distribution supports that. The Oppo Find X9 Pro, on the other hand, leans into a more fluid premium look. The curves are gentler, the transitions between the frame and the back panel feel cleaner, and the camera island blends more naturally into the body. If you value symmetry and minimalism in a design, Oppo's aesthetic is more refined and doesn't feel like a hybrid camera device. Now let's talk about the screens. On paper, both offer high-end OLED panels with excellent color gamuts, but in actual use, the difference in brightness and color behavior is noticeable. The Oppo Find X9 Pro clearly has the brighter display. Indoors, you won't see a difference, but outdoors, under hard sunlight, Oppo pulls ahead. At full manual brightness, it's brighter than Vivo, and under automatic boost, it becomes one of those phones you can comfortably read without squinting. If you're someone who uses your device frequently outdoors, commuting, shooting, or traveling, Oppo's advantage is immediate. The X300 Pro, however, strikes back in color accuracy. In professional mode, its average delta E sits below 1, which is what you typically expect from a calibrated creative display. Grayscale stays neutral, colors remain controlled, and there's a very little variation across saturation. Oppo's accuracy is still very good, but you can see the slight coolness and slightly higher error rates in skin tones and yellows. So if your priority is brightness and outdoor usability, Oppo wins. If you want a display that behaves like a calibrated monitor, Vivo is the one that gets closer to that. Now, daily performance feels excellent on both these phones, but the gap becomes clear when you push them a little harder. The X300 Pro consistently leads in CPU and GPU tests. It handles sustained workloads better, whether it's multitasking with heavy apps, long gaming sessions, or exporting heavy large files. It holds its pace longer without any dips. The Find X9 Pro is smooth, but it's tuned more towards consistency than raw power. You don't get any stutters, but during heavier workflows, you can tell it doesn't maintain peak performance as long as the Vivo does. In simple terms, both are fast, but Vivo is the one that feels more prepared for demanding situations. Battery life is where both phones deserve equal credit. Despite their powerful chipsets and bright displays, both manage excellent endurance. The PC Mark results show almost identical battery life, which is amongst the strongest for flagship phones right now. The real difference comes in charging. The Vivo X300 Pro completes a full charge in around 52 minutes, whereas the Find X9 Pro takes close to 90. It's not slow by old standards, but compared directly to Vivo, the gap feels huge, but also because it has a larger battery. After shooting extensively with both these phones, the conclusion becomes straightforward. If your priority is photography, especially night shots, textures, portrait, and long-range zoom, the Vivo X300 Pro is the stronger camera system. It consistently preserves more details and handles challenging scenes with more confidence. If you prefer more natural colors, smoother transitions, and a softer look that's easier to edit, the Oppo Find X9 Pro fits that style better. Its display is brighter outdoors and its color tuning stays closer to real life across all lenses. Outside the camera, Vivo has the practical advantage in performance and charging, while Oppo holds onto premium design and outdoor brightness. So the choice is simple. Pick Vivo if you shoot a lot. Pick Oppo if you prioritize natural colors and a more balanced everyday look. Both are excellent, but they are meant for different photographers. So that was our comparison of the Vivo X300 Pro and the Find X9 Pro. Like, share and subscribe for more such comparison videos, and thank you for watching.